Sigma is a remote-controllable SSL analog summing mixer built for the modern DAW-centric studio. Sigma uses the same superanalog mix bus as the Duality and AWS consoles and delivers it in a 2U rack mount design. Sigma offers complete remote control of the analog path via SSL's Delta plugin technology, remote application, and iPad app, as well as allowing control via SSL's own Nucleus, and with the new version 2.1 software, other UConn and MCU control surfaces as well. Sigma Delta 2.1 is a free software update for existing users and standard on all new Sigmas. So what's new in Delta 2.1? There are 3 new Sigma Delta plugins in all major formats. A 16-channel version of the Delta Control Fader plugin with automatable control of even more analog path features including pan, mono stereo selection, mix bus assignments, and cut. An all-new mix bus plugin with control of Sigma's mix bus levels and insert points. And an all-new monitoring section plugin for full control of Sigma's center section, including monitor pot control and monitoring source selections. The introduction of these new features means that your analog mix and complete Sigma setup can instantly be recalled on the opening of your DAW session, just like a plugin does. Sigma is now the fastest, cleverest, and most DAW integrated summing mixer available. Delta Control allows you to easily automate Sigma's analog fader levels through either the single fader or multi-fader plugin, depending on your workflow. This automation is stored in DAW automation lanes in your session, which are, of course, easily editable and instantly recalled upon session load. The all-new Sigma Delta 16 fader plugin was introduced first and foremost to bring Delta compatibility to Logic users. As Logic does not allow more than one plugin to write automation data at the same time, Sigma Delta 16 solves this issue by putting all of Sigma's channels into one plugin. Of course, AAX and VST users who prefer to use the single fader Delta plugin as part of their session workflow can continue to do so. Please note that once Sigma's software has been updated to 2.1, users must also update their single fader plugin to 2.1 for it to continue to work and ensure backwards session compatibility. Let's take a look at the new 16 fader Sigma Delta plugin. Go to the drop-down menu of the DAW's insert list and select Delta Control 16. Once the plugin is loaded, go to the top right and select 1 to 16 so that the plugin associates itself with Sigma's 16 fader gains. Next, I will restore my static Sigma state, including flat fader gains and mix bus assignments, by going to the remote application and loading my static XML file. Logic by default adds all parameters automatically, but for Pro Tools users, now these settings have been fired across into Sigma, I can add any of the controls I see in the plugins, excluding solos, to the automatable parameters list. The list includes volume, pan, mono stereo state, as well as mix bus assignments for each channel of the Sigma. You'll notice that if I start moving the volume on channel 8, Logic's automation lane intelligently changes to show that automation being updated. The new Sigma Mixbus plugin now allows Mixbus A and B levels, as well as Mixbus A and B insert points to be automated in the same way as the channels, by using a Delta Control plugin. Simply insert the Sigma Delta Mixbus plugin anywhere in your DAW session. Using the previous software, Sigma's monitoring section was only recallable using the remote application. Now, Sigma Delta's monitoring plugin allows control of Sigma's monitoring section from within your DAW session. The plugin includes control of Sigma's monitor pot, source selection, dim, cut, mono, and speaker selection, as well as headphone level and source. The addition of these new plugins mean that all of your Sigma's features are instantly recalled when you load your session. Some users may still prefer the single fader plugin, especially those who use Delta Fader to transfer mixes between their Sigma and a larger AWS or Duality console in another studio. The following example uses the Sigma Delta single fader plugin. Go to your DAW's insert plugin list and select the Delta Control plugin. Again, select Sigma as your device and choose the analog channel fader gain you wish to control. The plugin fader now associates itself with the chosen channel on Sigma. I've chosen to associate this instance of Delta Control with channel 1, kick, and I've placed it in the session so I can see the kick drum waveform below. If you wish to start creating automation moves, simply add the fader to the automatable parameters list in your DAW and put the DAW track into an automation writing mode such as latch. Pro Tools has some useful automation writing features such as write to end and write to selection, which can make mixing in this way even more fun. Check out some of the other SSL Delta Control videos for some of these tips and tricks. We understand that everyone's setup is different. For these reasons, we've made Sigma as flexible as possible in being controlled. If you have a Nucleus, you can devote one of the 3 DAW layers to control Sigma using the Sigma Delta Nucleus profile. In this case, I'm controlling my summed Sigma mix on DAW layer 2. I can control Sigma's analog fader levels, solos, cuts, and even assign channels to mix buses directly from the Nucleus surface. Importantly, any changes made on the Nucleus, Remote App, or Delta plugin are completely synchronized. I can record Delta automation direct from the Nucleus, or if I wish to draw in automation from the DAW, Sigma and the Nucleus will follow. Pressing DAW layer 1, I can now switch Nucleus back into being a DAW controller. And using this kind of setup, I can quickly and easily move between DAW control and altering the summed Sigma mix. If you don't have a Nucleus, there are still plenty of ways to control Sigma Delta. The Sigma Delta plugins are UConn enabled, and this means that any UConn control surface like an Artist Series, S3 or S6 are able to control Sigma via the Delta Control plugin mapping. And in the Monitoring section plugin, the rotary knobs can control monitoring and headphone levels, with buttons like cut and dim mapped to push buttons. You can also use a non-SSL MCU control surface to control Delta as well. iPad users can use the free Pro Tools application to control the Delta plugin in the same way, and the Sigma Remote itself is also available as an iPad application. That concludes our video, and we hope you've enjoyed watching. Delta Control really is the finest hybrid DAW console automation system ever created, inspired by the workflow and practices of professional mixers. We hope it helps you get the best results from your SSL analog mix engine. And for more information on Sigma Delta, please visit www.solidstatelogic.com.